All right, guys, today for all my men out there who are in high octane jobs or transitioning out of them. By high octane, I mean jobs like the military, police, first responders, professional athletes, those types of jobs that keep you at this really heightened state of vigilance and require a high level of performance. Now, the reason why I want to address this is because of the fact that we are talking about transitioning to essentially what we refer to as kind of normal life. And it doesn't mean that you need to take down your level of abilities from being elite or being high level to average. That's not what we're going for right here. But the number one thing that happens, and I've seen this, guys, from, again, professional athletes to elite special operations to elite units that are outside of the military as well, both in the federal government and in law enforcement. And when we transition out of these jobs and we transition out of that lifestyle, we lose a sense of purpose because whatever we're in there for is much bigger than us, right? So like, for instance, when it comes to athletics, you are there as a team. You are there for a big trophy. You are there for being acknowledged that you are the best in the world. And you are constantly striving for that every fucking year. And there can only be one. And so when we do that, we're sitting there trying to put ourselves at this elite caliber level. We have a bigger purpose than just us, and we're driven every day by that purpose. Our life becomes about that purpose. And it's the same thing when you're in the military or you're doing even protection like I used to do, or you're doing some of these other high level jobs for these super top tier units. Your purpose is so much bigger. It is a flag. It is a country. It is a way of life. It is a beacon to the world. It becomes something massive. And so it's easy to wake up every day and be like, yeah, I'm going to go fucking take this on and I'm going to win this. I'm going to go ahead and put everything I have forward because I know if I don't, that the risk or the stakes are incredibly high. But when it comes to transition and we leave that life, we don't understand what the next chapter is supposed to be. And this is where many men have a downward spiral. This is where they get into a lot of toxic behaviors, a lot of toxic habits, a lot of things that cause them struggle in their life. And then they end up with either incredibly negative relationships with the people they love, with themselves, and with life in general, which then turns into depression, high states of depression. And it also can turn into things like suicide, which unfortunately is something that men tend to have more proclivity to than women. And so when we look into transitioning, guys, we have to first fucking understand that it takes time. And it takes hard work. You got to where you were through hard work. You're going to have to get into the next chapter of your life through hard work. It doesn't leave. You didn't earn shit. And that's the one thing I had to come to terms with when I left the military, when I left special operations, when I left doing protection. I had to come to terms with, in the real world, I didn't earn shit just because I did hard stuff, because I was elite. I didn't earn anything. And the fact that we think that we carry some form of badge of honor into the next chapter, guess what? The industry doesn't care. Your purpose doesn't care what you earned, what you believe you earned. Your life doesn't get put on notice that things get to be easy now. The universe doesn't say, oh, he did something hard. Like, oh yeah, here you go. You just get everything you want. No, that's not how it works. I had to come to terms with the fact that I still had to work hard. And I had to come to terms with the fact that I still had a level of standard that I needed to put into my life moving forward. If I was going to find a purpose, if I was going to find something that could help drive me to the next level, help wake me up every morning with a sense of urgency, with a sense of identity, it was going to have to be through finding purpose and finding it through working hard to transition in a way that allowed me to be open to receiving different things in my life. And so when we talk about transition isn't easy. It's not meant to be easy. It's part of life, and life isn't easy in general because we're humans and we make it complicated. Life is the constant trials and tribulations that we end up going through, and how we perceive them is how hard our life gets to be. And so with transitioning, guys ask me all the time, how did you do it successfully? How did you find your purpose? How are you so well kind of integrated into life, and you're able to flow from this to that and be able to absorb? Well, guys, I'm not sitting here as some crazy fucking anomaly. You guys all have this power as well. And I didn't get handed it. I didn't just all of a sudden turn over and I was in regular life and like, oh yeah, everything's good. This is cool. Like, this is so easy. It's not. I ended up with a divorce. I ended up with struggling. I ended up with drinking. I ended up with, negative thoughts and borderline or possibly even forms of depression. I ended up with all those things too. Just like you guys have the ability to end up with those things. But I want to give you guys information so you can avoid that. You can avoid the negative relationships. You can avoid the depression. You can avoid the toxic behaviors. I want to give you guys tools for this because I don't want to see you guys go through that. There's the ability to get through it just by having pieces of information by somebody who has struggled with it and knowing so many people who have struggled with it. If you guys go back and listen to some of my podcasts, special operations guys have struggled with it. Professional athletes have struggled with it to the deepest levels. And I talk more and more with people these days, obviously, and they struggle with it too. High performers. So guys, transitioning isn't easy. That's number one. Number two, it's going to take hard work. It is going to take hard work and patience and grace. You need to give yourself patience and grace and let yourself know that you're going to still have to work hard to get through it. You're still going to have to put in the time, put in the development, put in the experience to transition softly and to have a good life on the other side of wherever you're coming from. And part of that is not judging people for where you are or who you were and them not being part of that community. Because the more you judge them for that, the less inclined you are to get into experiences and conversations and social settings that aren't like-minded from that world and are going to challenge you because people know shit. The other thing is, get into the habit of being a fucking infant again. Yes, you did something really cool. Yes, you were a high level. Yes, you were top ranking or high ranking in it, whatever. Get back to being a fucking kid. Ask questions. Get open to learning and to being new to the world. What you did and who you were can be an asset in a transition if you're willing to remind yourself that you're highly capable, but that you don't know what is going on out here, so you are open to learning. Because when you realize you're capable, you can learn anything. And when you can learn anything, you can gain the knowledge and experience to create whatever it is you want to create and find that purpose that drives you every fucking day. So just remember that that is part of the process. Be inquisitive, be a kid again. Number 4 or 5 at this point, get out of the same circles that you are fucking in right now. So what I mean by this, yes, veteran groups are very helpful for vets. It's great to be able to talk with people sometimes who understand your background or what you went through. But it is not safe to do that all the time, because what's going to happen is you are going to surround yourself with the shit you're trying to transition out of, and it will keep you back from transitioning out of it because you will be constantly surrounded by it and you will be involved in it. So having those groups to be able to relate is one thing. Relying on those groups to dictate your next chapter is not great. You have to move out of those circles and those spheres. Some of the biggest moves I made was putting myself in rooms with entrepreneurs because I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know I wanted to be until I started to get myself in those rooms. But when I got myself in those rooms, I was an infant. Yes, I had experience that not a single person in that room had. Not a single person had my experience in my life. But they knew more about the next chapter that I wanted to go to than I did. So what did I do? I had to be humble. I had to ask questions. I had to not act like I was anything in there as far as who I was before or the rank I held or the experience and knowledge I had. I had to be somebody who was absorbing information, being respectful to the other people's experiences and not judging them for not having my experience. That is what helped me grow, and that is what helped me transition once I finally put myself in a position that I was in a mental state to transition well. And how did I get there? I gave myself a small win. When I really figured out I was going down a toxic path, I started to think, okay, what is it I can do for myself that I can put myself at an advantage to be in the right mindset? I need to get a win. That's what I needed. You need that too. You're going to need a win. And what is that? Well, that is something that is trackable and measurable. So a win for transitioning out for me was doing bodybuilding. It was easily seen and witnessed. It was easily definable. It had an end date and it was short. It was 12 weeks. I did 12 weeks of training to get to a bodybuilding show at which I performed on stage. And it put me in a position that I could progressively see the changes pretty much like weekly. So if you're wondering what a short win looks like, that was what a short win looked like for me. But for you, it could be something different, but you need to be able to see it because you need that positive affirmation that you're making a difference, that you're actually transitioning, that you're making progress. Because if not, if it's too big and it's too long, you'll end up getting deterred. You'll go back to old habits. Old habits go back to the old way of life. The old way of life keeps you stuck in the past. So they need to be short, definable, progressive wins, guys. Give yourself that, and it will help you to transition. It will give you a passion, maybe not a purpose. It'll give you a passion for a little bit of time that will end up it'll allow you to write the story of why you're waking up every morning, because during the time you were in this other job, everything was written for you. Everything was taken care of for you. But you get the ability to now write that. You get the ability to say, no, I get to define my day. I get to define what I wake up and have a goal towards. That is powerful. I didn't realize that for a long time. And that was very confusing as well to me, which it may be to you. It's confusing to be like, wow, I get to actually write what my day looks like. I get to say, I get to do this, this, and this, and I have this measurable outcome. I have this purpose for the day. I have this purpose for the week. I have this purpose for the month. Nobody is telling you what to do. Nobody's telling you how to do it. You get the ability to write that. But you have to recognize the fact that that is what your new chapter is going to be about. You get the ability to write that. So transitioning out, give yourself a small win. That will give you some form of passion. As you do that, and as you start to engage in different social settings other than the life you came from, you will start to develop cognitive awareness of things that you enjoy outside of that life. And when you do that, you may actually, I'm hesitant to have definitives, so I won't say you absolutely will, but I don't see how you wouldn't. But you would then be on the path of finding your purpose, of finding and defining whatever that purpose is for you at this time to then help you transition out. And when you define that purpose and you have it, speak it. Speak it. Speak it. I can't say this enough. Speak your purpose to people. When they ask you, what do you do or who are you? Oh, I was former special operations, protector to the U.S. ambassador of Iraq. No. Who are you now? Even if you're in a 9-to-5, if your purpose is to become an entrepreneur, don't tell people you're in a 9-to-5. Tell them, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. What's your business? Oh, I'm developing X, Y, and Z. That will help you to not only voice to the universe what you're calling in, but it'll help to reframe your consciousness and your subconsciousness to saying, that is who I am. I am an entrepreneur. I am creating a business around men's development coaching with a podcast that involves men who share about the struggles in life. So it gives men permission to know that they can struggle and it's okay. And they can voice it and that's okay. That's who I am now. But without me speaking that, I am going to be stuck in who I was. So speak that. And if you think that, oh yeah, like if I have a 9-to-5, well, Johnny, why don't I say like, oh yeah, I'm working for this company right now, but this is what I'm trying to do. Because listen to the language. This is what I'm trying, which means you've already lost. And this is who I am, which is going to keep you in the present. It's going to keep you in that job. Talk about where you are going as if you are already there. That will help you with your transition. Guys, transitioning can be fun, but it also will be a little difficult for people. And some people are going to handle it and manage it better, and others are going to really struggle with it. And if you're somebody who's really struggling with it, one, make sure you reach out to me so we can talk, because I don't want to see you guys struggle with your transitions. And two, make sure that you're just applying some of these tools to help you have a softer transition over. It doesn't take much. It just takes a little bit of reframing and understanding that, yeah, you're going to have to work for something again. But in the end, you're not going to end up with the toxic behaviors or failed relationships like many of us other people have. So get involved with your own transition by getting to work. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode. If you need any help with transitioning, let me know. I am here for you. And if you guys have any questions about anything else that we have going on, the Wild Man Experience, any courses going on, just go ahead and hit me a message as well. I'd love to talk to you about what we have going on for you, what's going to be opening up in the future, and how we're supporting men moving forward. So, and if you haven't checked it out, go check out the Art of Masculinity podcast. That is where I post my other messages and my joint podcast episodes with amazing guests every Thursday and my solo episodes every Tuesday. All right, guys.